looking for this?
Oh gosh.
Get ready to run.
Bro. Oh gosh. Bro, she about to whip him. She about to whip. Oh no, she hit a shot. Okay. That's just like the game, dude.
Dude,
Which I have now played.
I would be a hightail.
Oh, whoa, where'd it come from? Up the gun. Bro, you got knocked out by that. How are you a fire for that? An Ellie 1v1, dude? This is what we've needed our entire life? Ooh.
Oh, that is creepy. Yes. No.
Frick, no.
I can't be good. No. Oh, no.
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 No. Ooh. Oh, well. Kill shot.
Good positioning.
I love how you can see the fungus hanging out of his mouth. That's crazy.
Attention to detail.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I've seen this before, dude.
No.
Too many times in this series.
No. Not Ellie. I mean, which we know. But
No!
bruh, no. Welcome back to BoomShot. I'm Kale. This is Colby,
sir.
and we just finished watching that Last of Us episode 7, the Left Behind episode. We're just gonna go ahead and jump right into it, starting now. Okay, so those clips we watched, like, what did you think about that? Like,
It's sad, dude. Very bleak.
Yeah.
Like, and at the end there, I don't know if it'll make the final cut. But she was like, "Well, it happens to everyone at some point."
Yeah.
I'm like, dang. Like, but how you can't help but not think that, especially when you've already been bitten.
Yeah.
Like, because it's been what 20 years and it's just gotten worse. So
yeah, it was just a crazy episode, like in the sense that like not a lot happened, and this is actually based on DLC they added. That's a prequel, so it's kind of like the way they did with Star Wars, where they like released the original trilogy before they released the prequels. Like this, the Left Behind episode is a prequel explaining how Ellie got bitten, why, like how they know that she's immune to the fungus. So
yeah, because
like,
that was the same spot we've seen her already have been bitten.
Mm-hmm. And so it does explain that pretty well, and like it's just crazy because knowing that Riley also got bit. And Ellie made it out, and she probably watched Riley go insane. You know what I'm saying?
That makes it worse. And then it happened again with Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep.
That's rough.
Dude. And maybe like explaining Ellie's motivation. Like everyone, it says that what'd she say last episode, that everyone I've ever cared about, like it just dies or has left me. And like when you really think about it, when you really think about it, Ellie, like the way that the people on the podcast have explained it is that like. Those, like, the first person that Ellie really could care about, because she didn't have anybody else, like, she didn't have parents or anybody, so the first person you ever really did care about was Riley. And so watching Riley die, like, that was one person, and Sam, like, those two people back to back that, within the span of probably a couple months, that have died on it.
And it's two different experiences, too, because when they both got bit in this episode, she didn't know at the time that she was immune. Yeah. And then with Sam, she knew she was, and she tried to heal him. So it's just, she's experienced a lot of loss in different ways too. So
yeah, exactly, and it really adds to like her. It really adds to her character. Like we got to see a lot of her in obviously the original show and in the original game, which by the way I am now playing.
That's breaking news.
Yeah, that is breaking news. I couldn't hold out. I was gonna try and hold out till after the show was over to like keep the title going, but. I couldn't.
We're gonna have to tweak the title a little bit.
Yeah,
because I still haven't played it.
Yeah, you still haven't. I mean,
really, but you're getting me to want to play it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I might bring my PS5 over there and we can play it, dude. You love it. Anyway, so like in the game we get to see a lot of Ellie, and like I love Joel and Ellie's relationship in the game and in the show as well. Like I think both of them add to each other now that I've played it. But this definitely adds more to Ellie's character, like explaining like her motivation for everything.
Yeah, and I've heard this episode stays true to the DLC. Like, at least 90%. Yeah. Which is cool. I mean, I always love when shows stick to the source material, not even... Mm-hmm. I mean, this is obviously probably the best one that's ever happened with a game, but even, like, with comics, obviously... Yeah. Any type of source material, I like when they stick with the books.
Yeah, and and the creative liberty they do take is in the best interest of the comic. Like, it's not trying to uproot or rewrite or add something that the comic didn't intend. You know, like that to me is important, and they don't really do that. Not that I've noticed from the game, from what I've played in the game, because I've actually caught up to where I'm actually caught up to where, yeah, I sweated it on it, dude. I was sweating, bro. I finally caught up to Joel. It's different in the game because Joel gets knocked off the balcony at the University of Eastern Colorado, like he's fighting a bunch of people, and he gets knocked off the balcony trying to protect Ellie and gets impaled by like a spike. Yeah, it was a brutal scene, but dude, Ellie was going ham trying to get him out of that daggum hospital. I was like, it was insane. But so that's where we're at now, and then we're about to see next episode where Ellie's gonna be, basically. Well, I can't explain that because I don't want to ruin it for you.
It's an interesting dynamic we have going on.
Yeah, it is an interesting dynamic. Actually, I'm on that part of the game, but I haven't like started it. If that makes any sense, like that's just where I stopped.
Yeah.
But I've read past it, so I know where I'm going.
Another thing you said, off camera before we started filming was about like how they cut back and forth.
Yeah.
Between like present time and the flashback, which the episode is based on.
Yes, that was something really interesting. So the episode opens with. In the way that the writers explained it, Neil Druckmann and Craig Mason, by the way, two of the best.
We shout them out.
Yeah, we shout out. I swear, if you don't listen to the podcast, go like that. If you listen to us for anything, go listen to the podcast. We'll just refer you to other people. We do it with New Rockstars, Star Wars fans. Yeah. We're living I don't know. I was gonna say referendums, but that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, on the podcast, they were talking about how like they didn't have a cold opening in this episode, which usually they have like a cold opening and then they cut to the Last of Us intro. But they didn't do that because they were like, the way Neil explained it, he was like, some episodes warrant a cold opening, they need it and they ask for it, but some episodes don't. And this episode almost had a cold opening, but imagine if Ellie had walked up to that door after Joel basically shoves her off. Like she's trying to fix Joel and Joel's like, leave me, go find Tommy. Yeah. And he pushes her, like literally pushes her. And imagine that being your last memory of your parent, you know, basically, because that's the way that she sees Ellie is like, Joel's thinking, I'm not going to be able to protect her anymore. But then Ellie, she doesn't understand the way that Joel's thinking just because there's no way that she can. And so the last memory she'll have of Joel is Joel pushing her away.
Dang, dude.
And so she's running and she's about to leave and she like taps on the doorknob and bam, we're back in with Ellie in school. Cool. And we discovered that she's got this friend, Riley, who left. Ellie beats up this girl, makes her basically the girl is bullying Ellie. And Ellie's like, I don't want to fight. And she's like, no, your friend fights for you. And then Ellie just like gives her a look and apparently gave her 15 stitches. So, yeah. So anyway, we go through all that. But then after Ellie and Riley get infected, they're like, we cut back to Joel. And he's laying on the mat. Cool. And Ellie, in that moment, she's remembering in that short little bit of time. Yeah. But for us, it's drawn out. And for her, probably it's really drawn out too because she's remembering all of it.
Yep.
In that short little bit of time, she's discovered, she's like, you know, with this moment with Riley, we have just lost everything. Like, we had just gained everything. And then, like, the way the writers describe it is, we want people to, or we want our characters to experience everything they want to experience and then rip it all away from them just to make it hurt even more. And I love that, like, not for the characters, but like, but to make you feel what they feel. And so Ellie's remembering that moment with Riley, and she's like, I spent my last moments with Riley, what I thought were going to be my last moments with Riley.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to do that with Joel, too. Yeah. And so then she ends up finding, later, as we'll see, she ends up finding some thread, and she's gonna give stitches to Joel, which I think is really interesting that they brought that up earlier in the episode, and then she's the one who's stitching up Joel. So also something that we basically just plagiarize the writers. So
I mean, I just think it's cool because that's really how the human brain works. Like, you think of your past experiences in real time with what you're dealing with, and that's kind of, I mean, that's just what. I mean, a lot of how we react to stuff is how we've reacted to in the past, whether we change how we react or do the same thing. So I just think that's cool. Like, the whole episode was kind of based around that.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, there wasn't a lot that happened. It didn't really push the plot forward because it wasn't supposed to. It's kind of like a retroactive type thing where it's retroactive. The way they described it on the podcast is it was retroactive character progression. That's what it was.
And I love that. We've said that a few times before on the channel with different stuff like a Kang flashback and stuff like that. I always love when we have an established character and we know a little bit about, and we've already learned a lot about them in present time. Yeah. But then we go back, like, they did it with Karen.
Yeah, they did it with Karen. Oh, yes, dude. That episode with Karen was dope. It was sick.
So, yeah, I always love when stuff like that.
And they did it with Matt and Foggy a lot, too. Yeah, they would gradually, and Frank, too, in The Punisher. Like, he would, especially the first season, he was constantly remembering that same sequence with his wife the day that they got killed. And so he's reliving that sequence over and over and over again, and you're learning why he does what he does. I really love that technique too, but I think, not to take away from the serious tone here, but where did that technique first get popularized? Phineas and Ferb. Dr. Doofenshmirtz's...
Just like everything else.
Yeah, Dr. Doofenshmirtz's backstories, dude. I'm drooling. I'm itching. I'm itching.
It's just like Quantum Mania. Yeah. It originated with Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I didn't know they'd be stealing from a kid's show, but I mean, I'm not complaining because Phineas and Ferb's got some good stuff.
Source material.
Yeah,
like
really.
We've been talking about.
But anyway, like, this episode, not a lot happened. I love to see, especially like now that I've played the game, and I always feel so bad, like, because there are moments where, like, Ellie's being attacked by, like, the infected, and she has, like, a red health bar that's just casually draining while I'm fighting another one. So I'm like, I gotta go help Ellie, you know? Like,
that's sick.
It is sick. So, like, especially Joel and Ellie's relationship, like, it's just so... It's very interesting, because it's like a dad and an adopted daughter. Yeah. And, except, like... They have no relation whatsoever. But then, as they continue to move forward, they discover that they have more and more in common than they ever thought. And like, ooh, wow! I just think that's sick. And this was cool to get to see how like Ellie's motivation and Ellie's like what she enjoys. It's the same thing that Joel enjoys. Like we saw the way that she killed that infected, how she was like so excited at the very end of it. And then like the same way that Joel is kind of just like he just casually kills and it doesn't bother him and it didn't bother her. In fact, it excited her, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah, not to say it's sick that her health bar is going down, but like. I just think it's cool how, like, that game, I haven't played it, but to me it sounds like it makes you feel how Joel does. Like, oh, I gotta go help her. Yeah. And it kind of reflects back and forth. I don't know, the people who made the game in this show are just geniuses.
They really are geniuses.
We've said it a million times.
And I don't know. I know The Last of Us Part 2 has gotten a lot of hate, and I have never played the game, but I know that, like, they had some controversial things in there. Like, you if you know, you know. I can't say it in front of them.
I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I can't say it. But at the end of the day, like, The Last of Us Part 1 is beyond solid.
I think you said it was your favorite, what?
It might be my favorite single-player game I've ever played of my entire life. And I've played some good ones in my day.
Yeah,
so
you're good at single players.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's so much fun. So much fun. Every encounter is different. Not to change this into a conversation about the game, but every encounter is different. I think that's what makes it so interesting. Like, and you don't get to see this in the show as much because the writers have even said, back to the podcast, the writers have even said that they want it to feel like a different vibe from the game because in order to keep you interested in the game, they have to keep you in gameplay. But they don't have to use the same kind of like literary and storytelling features in a show. And you can clearly tell that because they're not. We've maybe seen 4 encounters with the infected.
Yeah, that's true.
And we've gotten to see like some other encounters like with Joel in the laundromat in Kansas City. But like in the game, it's constant. You're constantly running into the infected. But the best thing about it is you don't have like a ton of resources, so every fight is different. You can approach it in a different way. It's just dope. Anyway. I need to play the Left Behind episode.
Yeah, and if you can't tell, we love the series, and and once I play the game, we're both gonna love the game. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll bring over my PS5. Maybe we can do a playthrough. If that's something you're interested in.
Oh, I might have to buy a PS5 just so I can play it.
Dude, I don't blame you. That's part of the reason why I bought one.
I have to save up for 3 years, but
dude, they're about to come up with the Last of Us multiplayer game too. Factions.
What?
Yeah. It's gonna be like the W or like the WLF versus Fedra or something like that. It'd be dope. Dude, you should see the gameplay. It's sick. Anyway, that wraps up our thoughts on this episode. There was a lot of deep stuff in there, but this wasn't like this was just a character progression retroactively. Like we're learning more about Ellie in a retroactive sense, but nothing really has pushed the plot forward with Joel right now.
Which isn't a bad thing. Like, yeah, because we talked about. I mean, obviously before, like that technique is just really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we're excited for the next episode. I'm excited.
Is it 2 more?
Yeah, there's 2 more. I just know. I just know. I'm just itching for the last episode because I know it's gonna happen, and I know that you're gonna be pumped.
Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna leave the couch.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Or I could be crying. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you're with us on this journey, we're. I was gonna say we're Joel and Ellie, but that wouldn't make any sense. Anyway,
and Tommy.
Yeah, we're Joel and Tommy. He can be Joel, I'll be Tommy. Wait, no, who's better?
What do you mean?
Who's better?
They're both pretty good.
Yeah, okay. we're walking along this journey, so if you're journeying with us, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.